big vacancy in the world of football has come up, Will.
Yes, the biggest.
It's huge. I don't know even, why it's taken so long to fill, to be honest. But the Irish job, of course, is open for weeks now. Is it a month? Look, Xavi was retiring. Well, it's not retiring, stepping down. Klopp's stepping down for a year. We'll see. It's very obvious what's happening here,
Yeah.
Lee Carsley turned it down, which is his right as a free agent. I don't think he is a free agent. I think he's still technically employed by the English FA, but he's turned down the Irish job. The bookies, who always famously get it wrong, Will, are saying Neil Lennon. But I think it's pretty obvious that Ireland are about to go through a historic, successful period with Jurgen Klopp at the helm.
The first ever co-managed international team with Xavi as well. They're going to manage it 50-50. You take half the team, Klopp, I'll take the other half.
Honestly, I think we were better off letting Xavi play, to be honest. I think even at 40-something.
You're better off letting Klopp play.
Yeah. Actually, 50-50 player managers. Just have them as players and have get Roy Keane back in. Roy Keane as manager, Xavi.
Lampard's free, isn't he?
Get them all in. Just like a committee.
I've been looking at this all wrong.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many garbage things.
You don't know what you're going to get.
This is a totally shameful, disgraceful piece of nonsense.
Because he was miles off it yesterday.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all
Plenty
the
of
time.
time, no problem.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a no-nonsense Kloppcast with Cathal and Will. Do you like that?
Yeah, we're trying something new out. Imagine we never went back to the normal podcast.
It's all Jurgen Klopp all the time. Following his sabbatical year off, where he's going to be gardening or maybe opening up a beer house or something. I don't know what he's going to get up to.
Well, Jurgen, we're here because you have an important message to deliver to our supporters. Would you like to tell them what that is?
Yeah, I have to. I will leave the club at the end of the season. I can explain it, or at least try to explain it. I love absolutely everything about this club. I love everything about the city. I love everything about our supporters. I love the team. How can I say that? I'm running out of energy. I have no problem now. Obviously, I think I know it already for longer, that I will have to announce that at one point. But I know that I cannot do the job again and again and again and again.
Yeah, for anyone who didn't see it or live under a rock, we're covering the breaking news 4 days after the news is broke that Jurgen Klopp has decided to step down from Liverpool at the end of the season. It is shocking, Will. Is it shocking to you? I was certainly shocked.
I was shocked. I've a funny story about it. So I was at a funeral the day it happened. But when the news filtered through, there were so many lads at the funeral who, their demeanour changed from being already sad to just I just can't believe Klopp has gone now as well.
Yeah. Can this day get any worse? Kind of feeling,
yeah, that's genuinely there was a lot of heads looking at the phone and just being like, "Oh my god, this is the worst day of my life."
But to be fair, that's the best place to get the news. Mine was at a wedding, and everyone's just like,
"Yeah, I'd hate that."
It's actually the perfect place to be because you just seem really kind of emotionally intelligent, but actually you're completely emotionally unintelligent and you're too worried about someone you don't even know while you're at the funeral of someone you're at least in some way connected to. Anyhow.
The bar staff are taking the funeral hard.
It's hard these days, the best times, to recognize what's real and what's satire on the internet. Some of the kind of Facebook posts and whatnot, you wonder, are they kind of people taking the piss or are people actually taking this hard? But there has been kind of a nation wide mourning, it feels like, around for Liverpool fans.
There's a great trend on TikTok at the moment of girls putting up videos of their Liverpool fan boyfriends, like sadly watching the Champions League highlights and stuff like that in dark rooms.
I mean, it's crazy. I'd imagine being a Liverpool fan and following all like the Liverpool YouTube and Liverpool Instagram and, you know, push notifications on always, and seeing the notification for that video.
Yeah.
And the way he was dressed, there was like announcement. It was like, oh no, like you must have thought the worst. Like what else could you thought? You know?
Yeah, it's definitely...
We signed Mbappe.
Yeah, whenever you get a push notification from Sky Sports and it says breaking news, your club, you know, oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. What is it now?
Who's been arrested now for Man United in your case?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I suppose it was a 24-minute interview he did with the club. Broke down. I mean, straight away he was like, "I'm leaving." You know, first thing the interview said was, "Are you okay? Is there a health issue?" And he put that to bed straight away. No, I'm all right. I'm fine. He then, I suppose, went on to explain what he was, the thinking behind it, and basically the takeaway that he's running out of battery, running out of energy for the job. He said he wanted to give 100,000%. That's how he's achieved the impossible feats in his career, because it's, you know, that kind of everyday energy where he feels that's how he does his best work, and if he can't do that, then he doesn't want to do it. You know, if you can't do it right, don't do it at all, kind of a thing, which is admirable. I think you have to admit
it's definitely admirable. But if you're given 100,000%, you're going to burn out very fast. That is a lot of percent to be given of your life to your job.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's he reckons that he's been doing it for 24 years that way, and he never thought that he never thought he'd run out of energy. He always thought that that's just who he is. Yeah. He has this kind of endless energy, and then when he realized that, he had to tell his wife, tell the club, and just felt like, you know, I think I need a break, which it's okay, which is fine, but I think it's the normal life stuff. He wants to have a normal life. I mean, you know, take it from me, Jurgen, it's not all what's cracked up to be, you know.
A lot to be said for going to work every day, Jurgen.
I mean, well, that's what we do. We go to work every day, and it's okay. Yeah. You know, it's a lot better than some, but I mean, to be manager of Liverpool and be adored by a city and a worldwide fan base versus, you know...
Yeah.
running a pretty okay podcast, you know. Like, I mean, it
could always be worse, Jurgen.
Have you seen Normal Life? Have you seen Twitter? I bet he's not on Twitter. Once he goes on Twitter, he'll be back within a month. You know, I'm like, oh god, this is what Normal Life is like. Like, if he, like, I don't know. I just feel like his energy, his if he takes a break and comes back and refreshed, I feel like his energy would be wasted podcasting. You know, I feel like a lot of people could do this job. The comparison that people are making is the most obvious one, which is Shankly. Will a good bit before our time, the Shankly resignation, but it was apparently very similar. 1974, so 50 years ago. And it was like in the middle of the season, and it was announced. And I'm sure you've all seen the TikTok clip going around of the guy interviewing people on the street, pretty joyously. Actually, he's taking a lot of pleasure in it. I think, to be honest, he's not like, he's like, I swear, I was there. The board's there, everything. He's gone. He's finished. I think he's finished at one point. It's like, Jesus.
You would be, though, because like, if you think, you know, none of these people have heard this news, and that's your job, is to tell them. That is some great content. Even back then, I'd say they were like, oh, this is going to be a banger of a video.
Look, there's a little kid. Go up and tell the little kid. Break it hard. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, but maybe we should just play the clip for context.
Bill Shankly's retired. Is he?
On the wireless.
On the wireless at 12 o'clock. I've just been at a press conference where he announces he was finishing.
Is that true?
It's true. I swear it's the truth. Honestly, I'm not joking. Really.
Having a son.
When did he retire?
Today, he retired. He's finished today.
Terrible, Don't know what I'm going to do.
Bill Shankly's retired. Is he? He's finished.
Bit of a shock to me.
How do you feel?
Terrible.
You haven't me on, aren't you?
No, I'm not having it. I've just been to Anfield, honest.
Who said?
He said, he just announced it at lunchtime today, and the board were with him.
Bill Shankly?
Bill Shankly is retired.
Yeah, it's a great clip. Honestly, it's one that you would used to have to wait to hear it on Match of the Day in some kind of artistically made video package, and it would seem like really kind of poignant. Whereas now you see it and you go, mad. Right, next video.
Next.
Keep scrolling.
That was one of 40 I've seen in the last hour.
Yeah. Apparently now they went on to win 5 of the next 7 league titles after Shankly left. That's when Paisley came in, and Shankly apparently really regretted the decision when he left. It was like kind of hanging around the training ground and stuff. But it's I don't think he'll be the same. I don't think he's going to be kind of regretting it. I think he'll have so many options, so many choices to go from, which, you know, if someone like Shankly was alive today, he would, but it was just a different time, you know. Like obviously people will look at Germany, the German national job, and would you go back to Dortmund? Probably not. Would you take over Bayern? I don't know. Not many people been talking about that, but you know, he'd be welcome anywhere, you know.
It's a weird one too, because he said doesn't know what's next for him, like in terms of when he'll be back to work or where he'll work, but he said he definitely will not manage another club in England, which I know I'm sure he feels that in his heart. But like forever is such a long time, and in football, much madder stuff has happened than that. Like,
yeah, well, this is, he said if you ask him now will he manage again, he said no, like he's retired. And then a few sentences later, he said, "I'm retired for at least a year, definitely a year." So it went from ever to a year in the space of a few sentences. So I don't think he's like that, like written in stone what he's going to do. Now, to be fair to say, I love Liverpool, I love everything about it. I would never do that to them. I'd never manage anyone else in England. Again, for someone like Klopp, who can manage anywhere in Spain, in Italy, Germany, if he wants, you know, any national team he wants, it will be kind of unnecessary to manage, you know, Man City or Man United or Arsenal or anything like that, because he really doesn't need to. And again, he's 56, so it's like, you know, like people are drawing comparisons to Pep when he stepped away from Barcelona. He was in his 40s then. So then, he took a year out and he came back and he went to Bayern, to City. Whereas, like, I think Pep, even if he was to come back in a year, he doesn't feel like someone's there for 2 years and then tip on again. If he was somewhere else for another 10 years, he'd be 66, you know. And then, you don't need to bounce around Italy, Spain, Germany till no one wants you anymore and then take, okay, right, now I will manage Arsenal. You know, I think he might have 1 or 2 jobs left in him. So he doesn't need to take the English club. You know what I mean? I suppose on the English club, the other comparison that people are making are Ferguson in 2001, when he said he was done. I'm stepping in the end of the season.
Because I'd seen people talking about that, but that was, like I said, I was at the funeral, that was a topic of debate of like, Ferguson did come out and said, I'm done now, I need a break, all this. But I don't know, I think when Fergie did it, it felt like, he doesn't really, like, there's other things going on that's making him say this. It never felt like Fergie was coming out and being like, God, I'm tired. I'm too tired of doing this every year. It felt like, especially the first time, it was like, nah, he doesn't mean that. He'll be back. Now, when he was older, he did say, I can't do it anymore because he's an old man then. But this one, it's surprising to see someone so honestly come out and be like, lads, it really takes it out of you and I need to get away from it.
So you don't think that... that's not Ferguson, but Klopp is going to come back down in the season and go, actually, do you know what, lads? After winning the league and the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup and the Europa League, I think I'm going to stay on, you know?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think because he could do that anytime. They could win things anytime. I just think the thrill of even potentially winning a league isn't doing it for him anymore, do you know?
Yeah, well, this is what he said. That last year he felt like any other club would have got sacked, you know, because it had gone so bad after, being 2 games away from the quadruple, and then the team was finished. The team needed a refresh, and it's a classic cycle of like, look, they had their run, and it's over, and now you need to get rid of the players, you need to get rid of the manager, you need a fresh start. And he said that's what we felt was coming, and then it didn't.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, right, but it should have probably. So now the thing what I need to do now is to refresh the team, which he did. We got in Szoboszlai and McAllister and Endo, which very publicly known were his second and third choices.
Yeah, exactly. Which probably played a big hand in it. Just the whole circus in the summer definitely did not help his mood in the situation.
It's probably something that people forget about a little bit because the midfield is so good now and they're literally top of the league with his second choices. That's how good he is, Will. His second choices are better than your first choices. But like there was the Casero thing where Chelsea offered money for him and then Liverpool tried to gazump him and then he went, well, I still want to go to Chelsea actually. I'd rather go there.
Yeah.
And it was the 100 million that was offered and then obviously people online are going to bring up the interview where he said, if I ever offer 100 million for someone, I'm going to leave. But then interviews are asking, journalists were asking about it as well in interviews, saying like, oh, well, didn't you say this? And they had to go, yeah, I guess things have changed a lot, and there was, but really it was like, when he said that, he was basically saying the game is gone, or at least the game is going. And if it ever gets to that point, I'll be gone. And then when it happened, people all laughed, what's he going to do? Leave? And then he comes out today and he's like saying, in November, actually, I decided I was leaving. It's like, so, yeah, I mean, he is a man of his word. He did say, you know what, maybe his face has gone a bit mad.
I think the timeline matches up to where I think it was when he had that argument with the pundit on the pitch. The pundit was laughing about the 12:30 games. I think that's what sealed the deal. He said, this is a fucking joke now. They're laughing at me. They're laughing at my stress.
And we play, again, we have two sessions tomorrow and Friday. Yeah, we have 2 sessions. So it's fine to recover, and then we go again. So Crystal Palace played tonight as well, so that's absolutely fine. It's just not... But I realize you don't understand it as well, even when you work in football, so why should I try to explain again? We can make a joke of that and make just so you're completely ignorant. But it's good. It's obviously, football is entertainment, and I understand. It's all good.
It's just one of those issues that come up, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all.
You were already.
Okay. Well, Jurgen, I apologize.
Good. You can say what you want. Just I cannot say what I want because that would be really different.
Every time, everything he said over the last few years was like, the schedule, there's too many games, there's not enough break in between games, there's the transfers are going mad. Like over the last, 5 or 6 years, he's been saying this, and everyone's like, always complaining, always looking for something, or the pitch was too wet. Like, no one ever thought he was going to leave though. Because you're manager of Liverpool, try being manager of Aston Villa, see how tough that is, try and win the league with them and be even harder. He has kind of signposted this for a long time that he's not happy with the way the game is, the way the game is going. And people laughed at him. Like they were literally laughing at him saying, 12:30, your pet peeve, is it? I was like, this is this is what's driven me out of the country. This is not a pet peeve,
I'd say the media circus helps was a big part of it. I saw a great example of it today. There was a clip, I don't know what podcast had it up. Someone had a clip interviewing Mark Lawrenson, and Mark Lawrenson was talking about how he saw Klopp in Mallorca recently. And he was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but Klopp's building a house out in Mallorca, so I'd say he just wants to get out of there and away from it. And I was thinking, like, even the fact that there's someone on a podcast saying, yeah, he's moving to Mallorca, he's building a house there, like, I'm sure Klopp hates that. That it's just non-stop speculation about every step of his life.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. He was playing professional football till his, mid-30s, and then went into management straight away, and now he's in his late 50s. So he's been doing this kind of public life for a long, long time, and he's been like famous since he was at Mainz. Like it's like, whoa, look, this really revolutionary coach. And then obviously the Dortmund years were so successful, and then Liverpool is just another level altogether. So I mean, yeah, I think a bit of peace and quiet every now and again is probably worth it. But I mean, if you do think about the Dortmund thing when he stepped down from there, when they accepted his resignation, I'm not sure whether that like an agreed upon thing or whatever, but that was the same thing. The injuries had piled up. The team had kind of aged out a bit. All his players kept leaving. And he said, I need to take a year out. And then later that year, he was signing for Liverpool. So, maybe he just needs a break every 6 or 7 years, and he'd be back for maybe Barcelona will.
The other, it's very funny seeing both sides of the coin of like how well this was handled.
Yes.
How well the interview was done, everything, like even Liverpool's like social media and everything. It's just all handled with such grace and respect.
Oh, it's perfect. Masterclass.
And then not too far away, the same scenario was happening. but the coach was saying very different things.
Yeah, Xavi Hernandez, our second all-time appearance holder for Barcelona, behind. Can you guess who the number one is, Will?
Is it Messi?
Correct. Messi. 778 for Messi, 767 for Xavi.
700 is insane.
He was there since he was 16.
That's so many games. It's a miracle any of these fellas can walk.
They do put a lot of miles on the clock. But yeah, Xavi announced he was retiring. He came back and brought them their first league title since 2019. So it was like, this
Did
is
his
great.
best to change the culture.
He's trying to change the culture. He was trying to, change the way Barcelona had been from when he was a player to what had changed over the last few years in football. But they suffered a really bad defeat to Madrid in the Copa del Rey, I think. And it was like 4-1. That was, Jude Bellingham scored twice, and it was like, Madrid are streaks ahead on the pitch and on the table. I think it's like 10 points behind Madrid now. And then they lost 5-3 to Villarreal on Saturday. And he said, after that game, I'm announcing that I'm leaving in the season. So he talked about it before, saying like, listen, if I feel the players aren't with me, I'll step down. So he must feel that has come. I want to announce that on June 30th, I will not continue as coach of Barcelona. I decided a few days ago, but I think it's time. The club needs a change of dynamic. I think the players could not free themselves up. I do not want to be a problem for the club, but the opposite right now. If I think in my head and think about the club, the solution and the best thing is for me to leave in June. That is how I feel. I think the decision will help unlocking the team and the mood in here. I just told the president, Juan Laporte now, we've had a meeting. It was a very human conversation, just with common sense. I believe this is the moment to say this. I don't make my decisions following money. My contract will never be a problem. I just make my choices following my heart. I don't need anything anymore. So it all sounds very good. It sounds like, okay, it actually sounds like he's kind of accepted it very humbly, and Laporte is like, you know what, there'll always be a place for you here, Xavi. But then he says, Xavi added, in Barcelona, you always feel like you're not valued. You're mistreated. That's how the club works. From a mental health level, it's tough too. I'm a positive guy, but the barrier levels keep running out. And at some point, you realize there's no point in staying. So like,
Wow.
right up into that last paragraph, it was looking really good. Like maybe he has changed the culture of Barcelona. Maybe things are good for the next side coming in. And then
I love the idea of like his PR guy or the Barcelona PR guy reading the statement, and as they're going on, they're like, "This, you know what? This is a classy touch from Xavi." Oh, hold on, there's another page here.
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone's was initially when Klopp, stepped down or said he was stepping down. It was all like, oh, very sad, what a loss. So Alonso then for sure, yeah, definitely Alonso. He's not going to stay at that club. Surely he'll come to Liverpool. He used to play here.
Yeah.
That's
he used
all
to play for us.
So yeah, initially it was like, okay, right, fairly set order of succession there. Klopp steps down. Alonso loses the Bundesliga on the last day of the season to Bayern Munich and then joins Liverpool. That's probably what's going to happen. But now you throw open this Barcelona element to us. Do you think Alonso would like to return to Spain and manage Barcelona? Obviously, he's a Real Madrid boy. That's where he had so many great years. Do you think that matters, or is it? Would Liverpool be an easier choice for him?
Well, it's funny because like there's probably a lot to be said about again how these managers drafted their leaving statements. I think if you're Alonso, you're probably thinking, yeah, Liverpool. By the sounds of it, it's a stressful job, but it's very rewarding, and you leave it loving the place more than you did when you arrived. And then I'm sure when he saw Xavi's thing, he said, that sounds like something that'd probably kill my career. If I can't turn that around, I'm doomed.
That's it. Like, I mean, Klopp redid it. Like, again, it's a perfect kind of interview. It was like, my goal was to make the team good again so I could leave happy, and I did that, and then went, this club is the best place in the world. Oh, if I was 10 years younger and I had energy, I'd be coming straight here. He said I'd run through brick walls to be here. So like basically like the equivalent of like a come and get me plea for a club to players, I guess, or to form. It was very, very well, a very good piece of PR, I think if you were Alonso, you'd wait and see how it develops a bit with the whole sporting director leaving and the whole backroom staff leaving, just in case there is something there that maybe isn't clear to everyone else, But I think if there's a choice, I'd be going for Liverpool if I was Alonso. But, maybe he thinks he wants to stay another year in the Bundesliga. Maybe you don't want to go straight to the big club with all the expectation straight after Klopp. Maybe let a David Moyes type come in and then you come in as a saviour,
Well, that is the thing. The next, like we saw it with Moyes, and that the next manager after the legendary manager, same with Arsenal as well, it doesn't really matter what you do. If you don't win the league, they're going to say, Klopp won the league with us before and you can't do it. And, it's like, it's not actually what it's like. Like, you have to learn the thing and you're basically starting fresh. But I think for a lot of fans, they just think, especially when you leave on a high like Klopp, like leaving so nicely and, fondly, it's going to be tough to beat those expectations at all, or even to just get the fans on board with you half as much they were with Klopp, who left at the height of being loved. Like, well,
this is it. I think if it's not even kind of an if. I mean, Liverpool are top of the league and they're really going well. And I mean, Darren is starting to score goals, like you mentioned in the last episode. It's very plausible that they could win the league. You could finish the season and win the league.
Yeah.
Then you're leaving as a league-winning manager at Liverpool. I mean, Man City were still there. Pep is still there. So it's like, you're going to have to come in and beat the machine, which you won't. On probability, you won't. So, I mean, if they were to leave now on a high, you could win the cup and the league double. And then your Alonso coming in and, you can't get what Klopp got out of Darwin. And it's very frustrating. And it's like, this is the whole team revolves around. So it might be tricky. On the flip side, though, I mean, it is a good team to come into. Like versus, say, the Man United team that Ferguson left, where, Vidic never replayed again. Like Scholes had been brought back from retirement. That really was the last blood from the stone on that one. The last thing Ferguson did was tell everyone that Rooney wanted to leave, and he was a really unloyal person. Like that was a much tougher team to come into than this Liverpool one, I think.
Yeah. It's funny though, because it could, again, we're saying how nicely well drafted the video was and stuff, but it could come back to haunt them a bit in that if Klopp is leaving, even if they don't win anything this season, his last words to the fans, are pretty much like, hey, this team is set up for success. I've done all the hard work. You just need to get someone in and take them over the line. It means if it doesn't work and the next people come in, you're like, well, now you've ruined Klopp's work as well.
Look, I mean, whoever comes in, there'll be pressure. Whatever way you want to cut it, there's not going to be a situation with no pressure. You want no pressure, you get in Unai Emery after years of Wenger, like really kind of getting worse and worse, and then Emery comes in and it's just like there's zero expectation for anything, and then you bring in the fact that Arteta came in and everyone's like, yeah, I guess so. I mean, what's the bar, like that's fine, I guess. Like that's how you go in with no pressure, which no one wants that. No one wants to be Arsenal from the Wenger post, whatever, 2015 to whenever 2020. Like, even before that, like Wenger's last league was 2004. So like you don't want that kind of period. That's how you get no expectation. You go from the top to the bottom. Like that's a long fucking 16 years of nothing to then be like, okay, now we can get some no pressure. I mean, you want to keep the party going. You want to keep the success going. You want to keep the style of play going. So I mean, yeah, I think if you're someone taking over for the Liverpool job, you can't be afraid of pressure. So that's like a prerequisite, I think, for taking the job. So I wouldn't worry about what the expectation is or what you're looking at. I think it's just about getting the best manager in you can, which at the moment seems like Xavi Alonso.
Yeah, but again, it's like he's doing unbelievably this season. But it's like, how many of the people calling for Alonso to come in are watching these Leverkusen games week to week? Do you know? I feel like it could really backfire in that we've seen so many great managers come to the Premier League and they just get swallowed up by the circus of it all, I think.
Yeah. Because people are talking about Roberto De Zerbi as well.
Yeah.
Which that feels like if you want a stopgap in between a good manager. And again, that seems mean. Like that seems like kind of a harsh thing to say, but same as the way like when David Moyes came in, it was like he's a really good manager in the league you're in.
Yeah.
But it just didn't translate. I think the Derby will be the exact same thing for Liverpool. It's like, look, they play kind of the same way. They're kind of the same, genius manager. But The same way I was right, Will, about when I felt that Nicholas Jackson for Chelsea at the start, he was like, "That's not going to work." I could just tell that has flopped all over us. Versus Yao Pedro, who's doing like exactly as well as I thought he would for Brighton, even though they're bought for the same money. It's like, well, that's just it's the context of it all. That's, De Zerbi to Liverpool is a disaster, absolute disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Whereas if he stays on in Brighton or goes somewhere else, he could have a great career. But
yeah, I think Alonso is because he's the fan favourite as well. It's the easiest one. I think he'd have the longest rope with the fans. Even if it doesn't work out in the first season, they'll be very forgiving, especially with an ex-player. But yeah, it's a weird one. It's nearly like I feel like they'd be better off just getting some real well-established coach who's managed 100 teams at 100 different levels and let him come in and know he's not the guy for the long term, but he's going to be able to weather the storm for the next few months if shit hits the fan. Ancelotti maybe, yeah, but like Real are flying it. And they have the team full of superstars. I wouldn't go changing anything there.
that's kind of who you described, to be honest. Someone who's never around for a long time, but does kind of manage egos and everything seems to kind of roll off his back. A great manager's gone out. You need to get the best manager replacement. Yeah, you're never going to find as good a one, but yeah, you got to get someone in who's capable for the job, I think. I mean, in terms of for Liverpool for this season, where do you think this leaves them? Is this going to be a source of strength, or is this going to be kind of a distraction?
I don't know, because apparently, there's a lot of that talk of they'll die out there from now. But apparently, this isn't breaking news to the players. Like Klopp was thinking since November. He decided since November. I doubt he's springing this on the players. So I think that probably is a reason why they're getting the results they are and playing the way they are, is because they already knew this. So yeah, it's if you can keep that sustained. But I don't know. I think it more comes down to, like we've talked about before, is does your squad of superstars get less injuries than City's 2 squads of superstars? That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah, brass tacks. Let's not get emotional here. Who has the better team and who has the bigger squad? Who has, more prone to injuries? That kind of thing. I suppose he did say he told the club in November that he was thinking of stepping down, or he wanted to step down, and they kept it fairly under wraps. But I think now, by January, they have to start the process of finding something else. And as soon as you start putting out feelers, that's when the leaks will come. Same as all the leaks for the transfers in the summer. Everybody knew every move they were going to do. So it's obviously not an airtight club in that sense. So I guess you have to tell them now. But I'd say I don't know if he told the players, or did they have an inclination, or maybe they knew about his house in Mallorca. I don't know. But they just, today actually, they beat Norwich 5-2. In the FA Cup 4th round. So, not always a great indication, particularly with Norwich of all teams. It's like...
Liverpool famously pump Norwich every time they meet.
A bit of a bogey team for Norwich, even if not in the league anymore. It's like, oh no, here they come again.
How do we keep playing them?
How they keep finding us. So yeah, it looks like it could be business as usual. I think the next league game will be telling. He's pleaded with the fans, don't sing my song just yet, don't make this big deal, just support the team. I know that you love me, I don't need any proof of that. Don't feel sorry for me, is what he's saying, basically. It's all good.
Again, perfectly worded, because the way he said, he's like, I just need one more favour from you, Liverpool fans. Like he was doing like a concert. He's like, here, I've got one more thing to ask everybody. It's like, just, get behind us. And he said, maybe in the future on a match day, or I don't know, the end of a competition, we'll have a goodbye. Basically saying, like, stick with us. We might win something at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Probably alluded to like the Europa League that they're favourites for. Maybe at the end of a competition, perhaps, that we're in, maybe. Don't want to spoil it, but just saying. Just so in tune with the club. This isn't a sad day. This is a great day that, celebrate this, but not yet, because there's still, your man asked about, about getting the key to Liverpool and how that make him feel. I said, I'm going to stop you there. Like, there's plenty of time to reflect when it's done, when the job's done. There's still better days to come. We'll do that at the end of the season, So it was perfect. It wasn't like, this is about me, this is my swan song, kind of like a the Tom Brady retirement tour, and he came back a year later. You know, like this is not going to be that. I don't think. I think he's just. I think he is done here. I think he is done, but he would love, I think, to try to win the league. I think honestly, more than anything else, obviously Europa League and all the stuff isn't as cherished, but I think the league is one that you look at the points totals that he got and didn't win. Like
it's insane.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, 115 charges, all that stuff. Right now, they're atop the league and they can win it. So like that is all that matters, really. If they can win that, then I think he'll feel, despite it all, it's been a success, you know?
Yeah, and because it's mad, even like the point totals is one thing, but when you think about some of the ways they lost, remember the John Stones clearance off the line, which meant they lost the league. They also, that was their only loss in the league, so it would have been invincibles. And that was the only thing that stopped them getting 100 points. So they would have got 100 points and gone unbeaten and won the league, if not for literally a few millimeters. I think that type of stuff. Because I remember Alex Ferguson talking about the Aguero goal that lost in the league. That was when he was like, I actually can't do this anymore because I think I'm going to die if that happens again. It's too much to take. It's like the body and the brain are not able for this level of disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah. He's had a lot of disappointments. Maybe I think it's the losing the city has to weigh on you. It has to take its toll. It's just a relentless kind of feeling, I'm sure. The way the transfer, everyone's talked about the transfers last couple of years, like it is kind of insane. And like, you know, we're all watching this thinking it'll probably have no effect on anything, you know, but here we are. He's talked about the schedule. He's talked about, you know, the Brave Team games. People have literally joked and laughed to his face, kind of thinking, what's that serious though, is a Klopp? Like, they're literally not listening to him, laughing at him. So, as you said, this has been signposted for a long time. So, in a way, it's shocking because I guess none of us listened. I didn't think he was going to retire either. But when you look at it as a whole, it's like, oh, no, he did say this, actually. He did complain endlessly about this. And now he's like, I need a break from this. Like, why? You're at the top. You managed Liverpool. Don't leave. So, yeah, this is the thing about being like adored by people. It's like, it's unconditional love. I don't want to hear about the bad things. I don't judge you as a normal person. I just adore you no matter what. And I hope you never leave. Even when you say you're unhappy, I hope you never leave. It's maybe not all it's cracked up to be, you know?
Yeah. And it's funny as well because obviously like how tough it must have been going up against Pep and City. And I saw Pep was saying that like Pep will sleep easier at night knowing that my closest rival is gone. And meanwhile Klopp is probably thinking, you and your cheating team has ruined my life every year. It's like it wasn't a fair rivalry in the slightest.
Yeah, that was restricted. I'll sleep better tonight. It's like you fucking condescending, bald cheating bastard. I thought
spoken like the way he said it. It was like he was saying, "I've won in the end."
Oh, you know, it's just like. If the charges ever come out, like all this stuff is just again, we're getting sucked into charges again. It's not right.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have.
I'm sure it's a big part of Klopp's decision making too.
100%. If he had won one or two more of those league titles, I think he'd be a lot less stressed. You know, he'd be a lot happier. But yeah, I think the speculation for the management and where he'll go next will probably come in the rest of the season. So I guess that's probably it now for the whole Kloppcast, Will. Back to the normal podcast, I suppose. We had a pretty good segment last week, Will.
Genuinely, one of my favourites, I think.
We did the Animal 11. This is not a new thing, Will. When I was tweeting out the teams, I just put up the hashtags, of course, you know, get that precious engagement. And someone was tweeting about this in 2017.
Wow.
Tweeting at TalkSport. I was like, love that segment, boys. Love that Animal 11 segment in 2017. So this is a thing that'll come up again in another 5 or 6 years. Yeah, we had fun with this.
Mm-hmm.
You did your team, I did mine, and we put a poll, see who would win.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to say that I didn't appreciate the comments or the votes that people cast. You know, I spent a long time on my team. I didn't come up with that on the spot. Definitely didn't just come up out of the spot when Will gave his team because I forgot we were doing that. I spent hours researching my team. I wouldn't do that to the pod. I have more respect for the pod than that, Will. So yeah, we just get straight into comment corner, Will.
Yeah, we'll head to comment corner.
I wish I could keep this feeling. I wish I could keep this feeling. On the corner.
We had the poll up. The specific question we asked was, which one wins over two legs? Cottle's 11 or my 11? And the votes came in. 75% of the vote said that my team would win. I'm sorry to tell you. I think it makes sense though. There were some absolute shockers in your team. The camel, the hippo. They're never gonna make the difference. I will say though, the Panther graphic, he would be my favourite player, I think, if he were real. Aura galore.
He has an aura.
Panther.
Yeah. I was actually going to concede Animal Xii there, Will, but I think you're up with the votes and the players on the team. I mean, I had a look at the votes. You voted. You voted for yourself, yes. Will. I didn't stoop that low. Also, your fiance voted. I didn't know she listened, but there you go. She voted on the graphic, anyways. So there's let's be honest, folks. This wasn't thousands of people voting, so 75% seems like a lot, but
double digits.
But no, honestly, when I was making the graphic itself and I was putting your team together, I was like, damn, his team looks better. You know, even though I made the graphic myself, like it's more balanced, it looks better. The other funny behind the scenes was making that graphic. Anybody who uses ChatGPT or Bing AI image creator, which I was using for this, will recognize an AI image a mile away.
Yes.
But maybe those who don't, it was all done by AI. But of course, all these programs are corporate entities, so they have these kind of rules and stuff that you can't put kind of some images in there. You can't be putting you can't make some images on there and make them public, you know, not on their watch, not with their name connected to it. So I was trying to make these images you're typing in, like, you know, giraffe footballer wearing football boots, but human body, but also giraffe fur kind of thing, you know. And it gives you the four options. The Panther one was a nightmare to make.
Really?
Because, you know, you make one and then you add in another request and you go, wearing football boots or full body or whatever, you know, and it's grand. But trying to type in black ties and fur, it was like, this does not match our guidelines for what you're on to make. It's like, it's not a furry. It's I swear, it's for a thing.
Now, hold on, you're making this Panther far too handsome for our guidelines.
The Panther kept coming out ripped as well. Absolutely jacked Panthers. It's like, okay, I think we know where this guy's going.
Panther football sexy.
Well, listen, I wasn't even typing that in, but they were like, oh, we know where you're going with this. We know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to circumvent the rules, but I wasn't. But yeah, the Panther one looks good because I typed in, to get around the AI thing, I had to type in playing as a striker. So it looks like he's like after just like watched his flick on header go on the goal, which I wish I'd done for the rest of, like, you know, Rhino playing as right back. Would be interesting to see how that came out. But yeah, that was actually two images photoshopped together. It took me ages to do that, just that one. But yeah, honestly, I had a lot of fun doing this. And between the AI generator and then the AI tool on the Photoshop, you know, I just had hours of fun with it, and it was it was great fun. I can't wait to the next 11 of fictional things.
Yeah, we were thinking, if anyone has any suggestions for 11s, throw them in. We were thinking like cartoon characters or weird ones, because it is just very funny to imagine these characters, especially there's something about in certain positions. Like, I was laughing a few days later at the thought of the cheetah not tracking back, and both of us just agreeing instantly. We knew things like that are just very funny.
Yeah, like to have, like, I don't know, Han Solo was a centre back. I think I'd like to see that AI, you know, like a bandage on his head and blood coming down, you know.
Yeah, and some people had they didn't just vote. A few people let us know their thoughts. Gary Burns said, I'm going for Coles simply on the basis that there's a chimp playing right back. A chimp in goal I can't handle.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting comment. Is he picturing the teams if he's playing against them?
I think so, yeah.
He's saying he can handle the chimp in goal, but he couldn't handle the chimp as
right back. Is too much.
He's afraid of the chimp.
It's either that he's thinking like physically, I think I can handle the chimp in goal, but right back not. Or he's saying just the physical thought of a chimp playing right back is too much for him to bear, which is, I'm not sure which is better.
I mean, getting 2-footed by a chimp would be hell, in boots.
4-footed.
Yeah. You could get punched in the ankle.
And then we had a long-time listener, Colin Rowland. He commented on Spotify, which a lot of people don't know you can do. There's a comment section on every episode of the podcast. And you can just say whatever and it'll be under the podcast for everyone to see, which is mad.
Yeah.
Rowland said, Call, your Animal 11 is getting swept. On God, no Animal Kingdom ball knowledge. You're trying to rattle me up for the engagement and it's working and all. There you go.
Yeah, well, again, Roland, I spent hours meticulously researching different animals' attributes and seeing how that would translate to an anthropomorphic form. So, I stand by the ostrich.
Yeah, the ostrich is bad.
He looks good though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's a handsome player. He's tall, commanding figure.
Wait, you know what's funny about that, Will? Because, you put in like so-and-so as footballers. And not all of them, but some of them would come attached to certain teams for some reason.
Yeah.
And the ostrich, standing tall as he was, came in a Real Madrid jersey.
I would not have put the ostrich in Madrid. Too skillful for the ostrich, I would say.
I think he's got more. He's a good looking chap, but I think he's got more nastiness to him than you might think.
Yeah.
I think over the career, he'd probably amass a few red cards. I think he's more of a Sergio Ramos than you might think. The proud ostrich.
And we had one more comment on Twitter at No Nonsense Pod on Twitter. The Wolf Badger Monk commented, I'm completely lost on this, and I'm an anthropomorphic wolf badger practicing monk.
There you go. Well, we've got them all in on this one. Very successful statement. Yeah, maybe he just felt the wolf and the badger, if not both, could have been included, and maybe that's what he's talking about. But maybe next time. Maybe we'll do one at the end. This is the kind of mid-season awards. Maybe there'll be more animals at the end of the season.
Every week, more Animal 11s.
Depends how slow the week is, but maybe we'll do more animal-based content in the future.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all the
Plenty of
time.
time, no problem.